We are live. Welcome, everybody. It's Mikey Wine here, aka Gundemonium Works, with part 9 of the Hasagawa Macross 148 scale hangar diorama project. Extensive work has been done to the base, and I'm going to be going into that. I'm also going to do a recap on SCGMC. I wanted to do that last weekend, but I was just terribly sick with this respiratory thing that's going around. It was just kicking everybody's butt, kicking my ass for sure. So I had to take a week off. I'm back, so I'm going to make up for it and talk about all that other stuff that I would have done last week. But I did get quite a bit of work done to the base. Still have some stuff to do to kind of clean up the edges. I'll go into further detail on that. First, I think I'm going to do a recap of SCGMC, Southern California Gundam Model Competition. It was 2 weeks ago down in Southern California, the largest Gundam model competition in North America. And I used to, when I lived down there, I was part of a group called Those Gundam Guys. They're the ones that host it, and they always do a good job. I used to help or run that show. I used to help, providing judging and other things that help out when they were doing demos and stuff like that when I was down there. But this time I wanted to go back as just a customer and take some pictures, relax, because I didn't tell a bunch of people that I was going, and I knew that had I showed up or had I told a bunch of people I was coming to California, they'd be trying to rope me into judging a category or two or something like that. And it didn't take them long. As soon as they discovered I was there, it was about probably 30 seconds, maybe. I'm joking. It was more like 6 minutes. But yeah, I was approached and asked to judge, and I told them no. I said, no, this time I'm going to be a customer. I'm going to relax, buy some stuff, and maybe win some stuff in the raffle. Who knows? Last time I was a judge, I didn't get a chance to see a lot of kids. And when I got done with the event, what's up, Julius? What's up, man? I was, I didn't have a lot of time to go around and take a bunch of pictures. And when I got done with the event, I realized that after looking at how many photos I took, I was just like, gosh, man, I sure did miss a lot. So I wanted to make sure this time I was free to do what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. So, and I've been, like I said, I was sick last week, and I'm still not 100%. I probably sound kind of nasally right now. Thanks, Julia. I appreciate that. I'm gonna do my best to get through this. It's hard to not cough after talking for any length of time. Last week would have been just impossible because I'm just constantly coughing. So I've got some sodas here and some stuff to kind of maybe soothe my throat and keep me going so I don't have any problems. But with that being said, flew down to Southern California, and I took 2 kits with me. I took my Hainu heavy weapons system master grade Burka, and I think a few episodes or a few shows ago I was working on the base for that, and that was just so I could take it to SCGMC because I didn't want to show up with that wonky looking base that comes with the kit, and just with the extra weight of the heavy weapon stuff and the shield and all the extra armor, just very unstable. So I decided to build a what looks like a giant chocolate chip cookie now, but it was meant to be like an asteroid with a nice acrylic rod. It turned out decent, but it was rushed, and I'm not entirely happy with the way it turned out, but it was way better than the plastic base that it came with. So, but anyway, I went down there and I took that, and I took my Star Wars Mandalorian Season 1, Episode 8 Scout Trooper diorama. that has 2 Star Wars Scouts troopers and then a little baby Grogu. And did some sculpting work on the satchel and the Grogu, and so that one ended up taking first place in Star Wars, Mecha General Star Wars category. The Hainu was entered into experts, and if you're unfamiliar with their expert category, it's a winner take all. There's no first, second, third. You put your best kit on the table up against whoever else wants to enter, and that's it. They pick one winner, and then if you do win experts, you get your name immortalized on a plaque. They engrave it, and I was fortunate enough to get my name on there once already. So there's a couple people I know that have had it twice now. This year was won by a fellow named Jeremy Bong, and he used to live up here in Washington and was an excellent builder until he got a new job working in California. So I had forgotten that he was even there or in that area and that he might actually be at the show. So we just ran into each other right in the middle of one of the first raffles. And so anyway, speaking of the raffles, first raffle, this is what I won. I got this kit here in the raffle. Nice. I would always like to learn about LEDs and fiber optics. Will you be doing a video? Well, tonight, Julio, am I saying that right? Is it Julius or Julio? Tonight, I'm going to be talking about the LEDs and fiber optics on the base after I get done with my recap here. So hang tight. I'm not doing specific videos about that. I'm just doing progress videos on the current where I'm at with whatever current project I'm working on. If that happens to include LEDs and fiber optics, then yeah, but you can feel free to ask any questions during that when you see that stuff, and then I'll be able to answer them. I'll answer them as best I can. So anyway, this is what I won this kit in the first raffle. Nice real grade blue frame. The metal, I guess it's a metallic coated version, so all of the blue parts and maybe some of the frame, I'm not sure, they all have coating, a metal coating. Probably not something I'm ever going to build, only because of the metal coating. If I did, I would have to strip it and paint it. So this will probably be regifted into some other raffle prize or something. Another thing I won, I got a set of decals from SimPro for the real grade God Gundam, which I don't have. So I have decals for a model kit I don't own yet. I also had these little nice tweezers that they provided from SimPro. They're really, really sharp too, and I haven't used them yet, but I think these would be excellent for decals. I tend to use the ones I bought a while back, and these are the God hands, which are just outstanding for tweezers, very well made. So yeah, I'm going to give those a shot. And now down to what I bought. First thing I bought was this. I couldn't resist it as soon as I saw it. Another Macross kit, right? The Hasegawa Regault light missile carrier. So I have 2 of the standard Regaults already. This one has the missile pods on top, as you can see. So yeah, I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet as far as what that build is going to be, whether it's going to be a diorama or maybe just a small vignette with a tiny base or something. And lastly, I bought this, and this is Razer, the Black M620. Okay. Now, some of you guys might be familiar with the glass files that Razer makes, and they're supposed to be really, really good. I don't own one of those yet. I ran across this. I decided to pick this up, and not really knowing what I was buying, I just saw Razer on it, and but here it is. It's a nice piece of aircraft grade aluminum. On one side is a bonded, fairly aggressive filing surface. It's not like the glass files where the actual body of the file is actually made from glass. This is aluminum, and then it has this bonded strip of, I don't know if you can even see that, but it's a very, very kind of aggressive filing surface. You can kind of see the pattern a little bit, but it's hard to get focus in. On the other side is just a smooth surface, and it comes with 2 pieces of pre-cut sandpaper with some double stick tape on the back. So you've got a 600 and a 400. It's pre-cut. You just lay it over there, slice it off, peel and stick it, and then you've got a really nice, firm sanding surface that's not going to bend on you like some of these smaller foam type sanding sticks. They tend to round corners off a little bit because they're soft and they roll over a corner, whereas this is not going to do that. It's going to be pretty sturdy. It also came with 2 balancers. I think the original glass razor files came with the white balancer, which is really, it has 2 sanding surfaces. One of them is more, I mean, you can't even really fill a grid on it. The white surface is just for polishing. But it did come with this gray balancer, which is a little bit heavier grit. Doesn't specify what it is, but it feels maybe around an 800 to maybe 1,000, if that. So, but both those were nice, and I've started using this already. You can see this. I've already used the sanding stick on it, and it's working out really well. All right, now we're done talking about stuff that happened 2 weeks ago. Let's get on to current projects. Right? I'm sure everybody's dying to see what I've done. Okay, so extensive work has been done to the base. Let's start with the bottom. I'm going to do some assembly here in steps so everybody can kind of see what's going on. So this is the floor. I've done some light weathering to it. You can see some oil stains in various places here. There's also some streaking, which is kind of hard to pick up. Well, when I shadow it, you can kind of see it. There's some streaking going across the numbers here, and that's to look like tire wear as Valkyries are being pushed in and out. There's going to be some tire rubbing, tire marks, swirl marks, stuff like that. So, but on this side here is a little tiny IC connector that's embedded in the floor. Okay, you see that? So underneath, from there, is a harness which runs back here to the back and comes through the floor, where you have a second IC connector right there. Okay. So basically what this is designed to do is all that does is it powers the floor. Because what I did is I was trying to find a way to supply power to the Valkyrie without, it's hard to hide wiring in some cases, especially with aircraft, because you've got basically 3 landing gear, and it's really the only thing touching the ground unless you physically attach like a launch arm or something like that, which is what I did in one of my other projects. But in this case, I was trying to figure out, what am I going to do? So I got the idea to use a high voltage cart as a charging cart to charge whatever batteries on the Valkyrie. And I could run the wires through that and through the floor and basically hide the wires in plain sight. So they're actually functional, even though it's meant to be part of the diorama. So I think it came out great. And that was one of the last steps I did was attaching that little or installing the other side of this IC connector to the bottom of the cart, so the cart can just pop right on there, and that completes the circuit. And so once I have this hooked up to battery power, I can set the Valkyrie down, plug it in, and everything will light up on the Valkyrie. The back wall and the ceiling is going to be powered by it's got its own wiring, and you'll see that in a minute too, that goes to the battery. So this is the other cart that I finished. This is the nitrogen oil-free nitrogen cart, and I think it came out really well. With some weathering on it and decals and stuff, so it looks kind of beat up. Something well used. That is going to go somewhere over here, where between these 2 posts in the corner, where the back wall section is going to be behind the Valkyrie, because I couldn't really find a home for it out here. With the wings being open and the missile pods attached to the wings, there wasn't a lot of space on the floor that was really, really visible without going way out here. So I decided to to keep it in the back corner. It's not being used anyway, so it's more just for aesthetics, I guess, and little added details to look at while you're checking it out. So I'm going to take this off, and I'll bring out the back wall here. I'm going to move this just temporarily. We'll be building this. I'm going to assemble this so everybody can see how it lights up. But so here's the back wall. What I've been working on this last week was finishing these edges here, because basically all I had was raw plastic edges from behind this framework that these base kits are built off of. And I really didn't like the way that looked. It's like this. This is the top. Okay, just open wiring, LEDs, all that stuff. So I'm going to cover all this up. But in the meantime, I can show you the back here. So one of the ways I discovered I could cover up the back, because the back was open, kind of like the way the top is, and all my wiring and stuff. I have to take these off, so I'm going to show you that the wiring and where everything goes underneath here. But I just want to explain what I took. Some of the same pieces that were used for the front and the corners, and I just installed some pegs on each one of where the holes are, and now I can install these. So that's going to completely seal off the back and dress it up nicely. This will be painted flat black or something neutral, because it's not meant to be seen really. As a diorama, you're supposed to be looking at this side of it, the front. This is a chunk of a hangar in, we'll just call it the SDF1. There's one Valkyrie, so I'm really not too concerned about what's going on the sides and back, but I do want to cover them up and at least dress it up and make it nicer. So I'm going to take these off as we're talking about this. You can see the LEDs, and then I'll go through it. So I got two corners here that are going to be removed most of the time, or are going to remain removable, because on this side, in this corner, is the other half of my IC connector that connects the floor to the back wall. So that is what's going to complete that circuit. I got battery power here, and that's going through to the floor. On this second door, let's get this one popped up here. Okay. Here's where my battery goes. Okay. So I got battery here, and then floor wall here, or floor harness plugs in here. And then that way, all I've got to do is plug in that cart on the top side that's now permanently attached to the Valkyrie. It's all glued together because the harness I had to secure that 2-pin connector underneath it. So I had to wait until I was absolutely ready and cut everything to the proper length and then glue it all together. So I'm going to slowly start taking these off. They're kind of tight, so give me a few here. But these pieces I haven't fully anchored down yet. I wanted to put them in place, and I had to fit them each one. So all I did was I cut some 1/8-inch plastic rod and then inserted it in the hole. I had to drill these out, by the way. Inserted each hole, and now I can plug those right into the back of the original back wall here, and that will close everything up. I've got them numbered so they fit each one, because everything's a little bit, nothing's perfect. So I had to fit each piece to each section. So there we go. That's that corner. And you can see some of the wiring starting to be exposed here. And I'll explain what's going on once I get all of these off. I'm just going to pop these up. And these are kind of cool 2-piece doors. I wish I'd seen these earlier. I had them in separate boxes for this base kit, and I really like the way they look. They look like doors that are supposed to open and shut. And I didn't see them until I started trying to figure out how to do the back wall. Yeah, thanks, Steven. Tight. He says it's tight. Yeah. I'm happy with it so far. Oh, that one's going to be a little more, it's being a little more temperamental here. Get in the corner and try to just pop it up. Some of these are pretty tight. I did trim these nubs at an angle like you do with, some people, when you're building a Gundam kit or something, they'll clip the the pegs at an angle, and that allows you to take these things apart a lot easier when you go to paint them after. You know, some people will snap them together first, like myself included. Snap a kit together to see what it's like, get some ideas what you're going to do, and then actually take it completely apart again. But if you're not trimming those pegs, it makes it really hard to take apart in some cases, especially if, you know, Bandai kits are made to be pressed together without glue, so they tend to really grab a hold. All right, this is going to be just seeing just a little bit of pressure, and they'll start coming up. I mean, it's good that this stuff is actually tight, because obviously I don't want it to just fall apart, but this is going to save me a ton of time as far as like sealing the back of this wall up. There we go. These corner pieces have like 5 or 6 pegs, so they're a little bit harder to get loose. Okay, that's better. All right, I'm going to keep rotating this around. Anyhow, all right, come on. Yeah, don't start that. That's what I was talking about earlier, that stupid little cough. It's just like gets an itch in your throat, and then can't stop it. You get into these coughing fits, and it's just horrible. All right, there we go. I'm trying to get these. Problem is I can't get to that inside peg is what I'm trying to get to. There we go. There's one. And again, I've numbered all these, so I'm not worried about it. Once I get them off, I'll just show you here. It's that back corner is down. That's what's giving me grief. So there we go. Just need to get into that back corner. Now you're starting to see some of the wiring exposed here, and the fiber optics, because there is fiber optics on the back wall. Not a lot. I just wanted to light up some little like electrical panels on the back wall, give a little bit of extra detail. So as people are looking at this thing when it's finished, their eyes are going to be drawn, of course, to the balcony right away. But after that, I want them to be able to look around and start seeing all those little details. Keep them interested, you know. So as these get exposed here, you can see a lot more of the wiring. There is hot glue. I use hot glue in some cases works well to hold just the wires down. I don't try to glue fiber optics down with hot glue for the obvious reason of distorting or melting the fiber optics. I'm only using 0.5 millimeter fiber optics in this, so I can't put a lot of heat to it. It's really delicate stuff, so you have to put a little bit of heat to it with a heat gun to get everything to kind of relax, and you can press it all down. So all right, so now I got the whole back exposed here. Give me a sec. I'm going to take, well, you know what? No. I was going to throw these in a box, but I don't want to mix them up with other stuff that I already have. So I'm just going to take them off the bench here. Set them aside. Excuse me. Do not want to start doing that. I have to force myself not to, because you kind of want to try to clear your throat, but when I do that, it just makes me want to cough more. Okay. All right, so here's the back exposed and the roof here. So there are 6 LEDs across the roof, 2 on top, 2 on these 45 diagonals, and then 2 on the sides here, just directing all the light inward. And what I'm using is these are 5 millimeter. They're flat top LEDs. I've also heard them called straw hat LEDs. They're wide angle. They have a flat top to them. See that? If you can get it to focus there. There we go. So instead of a dome that is more of a focused light straight down, these are a wider angle, so they kind of spread it out, and it really creates, and especially when using it uh, in this system or this setup with this diorama the way I wanted, it really created some nice shadows and nice lighting. It looks like a real hangar when it's lit up in the right lighting conditions. Okay, so because white LEDs run on 3 volts, and I like to use 9-volt batteries, I tend to run all my circuits in circuits of 3. So these 3 LEDs are in series here. These 3 LEDs are in series here. 3 each. Oh, hey, what's up? Is that John? Is that you, A Ninja? Is that you, John? Nice. So circuits of 3 in series, and then everything gets paralleled down to 2 wires to the 9-volt power supply, so it runs on a single 9-volt battery. Everything will run on 1 battery. It takes a little bit of planning, but the end result is way easier. So I've got this kind of showing you the top of this, and I'm going to flip it over here and show the back. So the ground side of those 3 circuits are coming down here. The power side's coming in here. So everything's being funneled into this area right where the battery is. Okay, why is my thing not focusing? There. Let's hold on a sec. It's because I tried showing you something, now it won't focus. Let's see if I can get this to, well, I'll just hold this up then. Screw it. Okay. So ground circuit here, power circuits here. Black and red wiring, easiest way to see it. The thing you just have to make sure is that when you're soldering your LEDs in series, that obviously you're going from the negative side of one to the positive of the next one, and then the negative side of that one goes to the positive of the next one. So you're doing a series circuit. If you do flip those wires, you'll have one or two will light up and the other one won't. So those go straight down to here. There are 2 additional LEDs here and here, and those are for the fiber optics. I've got a red and a green, just a straight up 3mm. Doesn't matter what type. I didn't use a wide angle because I really want that a focused light. And all these little strands are going to these control panels. Okay. The cool part about this is because even though this is disconnected, because this is still where all the power comes from, so I don't have to have the floor connected to light up the back wall. I can light up each individual section on its own, really. Well, the back wall is basically one, and then the Valkyrie is the other. But because even if I had this disconnected, all I got to do is plug a battery in here, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So without any covers on the back, I am going to turn this light off and then wait for the camera to readjust, and you'll see what this looks like under power. Okay, so now looking at the back side, you can see my red and green. Those are strictly for the fiber optics. They go to they branch off to all these little panels. And from the front side, now you can see those little lights on those panels, along with the oh, my daughter's watching. Hi, Caitlin. I just saw that. So with the ceiling lights and those backlights, this really looks nice. I'm super happy with the way this came out. So I'm going to turn my light back on here. I'm going to take this off. Turn my light back on. So give it a second. It's going to wash everything out with bright light. So with the back covered up with those new panels, it does make this a little bit back heavy, but I'm not too worried about it because it's going to be attached to the floor. And then there's these little locking clips that go on each section around this. So those will lock it down even further to the base, to the floor, and it won't want to fall over or anything. But what my point was is that I thought about using more of those pieces. I had a lot of those extra pieces and just covering up all of these too, like I did that, do the back. But then it just started getting bulkier and bulkier. So I thought, you know what? the best way to do this is just to cut some plastic sheet. That's what I've done here. And I had to add some structure to this on these corners because I didn't want to be pushing on this with my hands or anything and just folding that roof in. So there's some tubing that's been glued down to the top here. So this is the top piece. This will go right on like that. It's a little bit bright because of the lighting, so it's going to be difficult to see. But this piece will go over the corner right here. Now there's a little bit of a seam here, and so how do I address that? Right, there's going to be a seam here and a seam here where these panels come together. I can't be perfect, nothing's ever super perfect, so they're cut to fit. But I wanted to figure out how am I going to do that, and then this is this is one of the side pieces here. So with all that, let's see if I can angle this so you guys can see it. So once I get all these pieces on, it's really going to just finish all that off. And of course, this is again going to be painted probably black. I might do the front edge in the gray that I did the base with. I'm not sure yet. I'm going to have to see what it looks like. I can always paint it again. If I do flat black, it'll be more of just like a primer. And then if I want to do it over in gray, I can just do it over in gray. Let's see. So what was I talking about? Shit, I forgot where I was going with that. That's freaking awesome. Thanks, Julia. That's why I'm here. That's why I do what I do, man. It's all about spreading the love. It's fun. I enjoy sharing these kind of things because this is if 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I was not even near this. I was still barely hand painting kits. But yeah, so once all those are covered up, then gosh darn it, where was I going to go with this? I had something in my mind I was gonna get to, but I forget what it was. I guess you guys just want to see it assembled, right? You want to put it together? Forgot where I was going with that. Yeah, I know, I did. Story of my life. Yes, sir, Gideon. It is. So I'm sure it'll come to me eventually. Anyway, let's put this thing together. And I'll show you how it plugs into the floor, and I'll do my best to get it on camera. I know the camera's up high and it's going to be a little bit difficult to see, but I will tilt it back ever so slightly to make it that much easier. So what I have here on the floor, on the back wall right here, there is see this little square hole? That's where my harness goes through. So I've got an access point, and I just feed this through. All right, so once that's through the hole, then this will go on. I got to put my magnifiers on, people. I'm getting old, I'm getting blind. All right, so I'm just going to plop this down. I'm not going to fully snap it down, but it will be secure enough. Okay, so now, if you look, there's my harnesses right there. Oop, right there on the left of the screen. So I'm just going to plug those in. Okay, and they're wired, so I'm just going to tilt this down, makes it a little bit easier. They're wired so I don't have to twist anything. I've angled the harnesses so they're positive, is on the same side. All right, there we go. There, that's plugged in. Okay, so now if I hook up the battery, I'll have power to this socket here. Now the Valkyrie's got to go there, so let me go grab him. All right. Try not to drop it. Yeah, because that's fun. All right. That would be A shame. Okay, so spin this around here really slowly. So I've actually got marks on the floor where this is going. So when it's finally put on here, I've also got wheel chocks that are going to be mounted to the floor. So that will also help me just plop this right down in place. So this is going to go right about here. Now, here's my cart. There's my IC connector on the bottom of it. So all I got to do is, well, here's what we're going to do. Let me hook up the battery first. You'll see how this lights up. So when I do this, remember the back wall is already wired. So as soon as I put power to it, okay. Then once I just spin this around and plug it right in to the floor. And there you go. Keep that standing out. Now it's a bit bright. In person, obviously, it's not going to be quite as bright as that. That other cart is going to go back in this corner behind on the floor there. So there you go. That's what it's going to look like. I mean, then there's going to be a big ladder here. There's a pilot. There's a bunch of figures I still have to paint. I got a lot of stuff to do before I can call this one done. But so far, I think it's really headed in the right direction. Now, I'm going to lift this up ever so carefully here. Try to get a little bit closer for you. So the pilot, the console is lit up inside the cockpit. The wingtips, the running lights, and the running lights on the booster packs, the super packs are there. I'll get back. I don't want to forget to talk about this. This is the glue I used for the fiber optics. So anyway, there you go. That brings us up to date as far as everything that I've been able to accomplish so far. So let me unplug this Valkyrie here real quick and get it back in the cabinet before anything disastrous happens. It's nice because it's an easy pressure fit too. It is not super tight. Those IC connectors, all I got to do is just plug it in and that secures that to the floor and it just stays on its own. So what I've been doing is just kind of flipping this over on its back, kind of right on top, just like that. And then I can walk it over. And I think if I didn't have that canopy open, that would be a lot easier. That canopy being open and how delicate that is, that's what really is the scariest part. The damn thing wants to keep breaking off. I've already knocked it off once. So glue for fiber optics. And I'm telling you this part because I learned this the hard way. And I'm going to detach this back wall here real quick. Let me unplug it before I rip my harness out. There we go. Okay, and that goes like that. All right. So do not, and I repeat, do not use CA glue with fiber optics. It's far too aggressive. It will attack fiber optics and make it brittle. And then your fiber optics end up breaking. So I've been using Elmer's glue, which is fine. Elmer's takes a little bit of time to actually cure. Then I came across this stuff. And this is actually a Japanese product. It's a canopy glue that's designed for clear parts so it doesn't leave glue residue on a canopy or something like that. But it really works really well on fiber optics. So any of the glue you see here from the hot glue gun, that's just for the wiring. That's just to hold that in place. But all the fiber optics are glued in with this stuff. And I wish I knew what the name was. I mean, I suppose I could Google translate it for you right now. But anyway, that's what we're at. So I think I'm going to start attaching these side pieces, or maybe even the, well, no, because the back pieces I'm going to paint first. I think I'll just shoot all those off the kit, and then I'll plop them on here when I'm done. What's up, George? You made it, buddy. It's 9, almost 10 o'clock for you back there in Massachusetts. You just missed it. If you just missed it, I had the Valkyrie all set up on the thing here and plugged in and everything. So if you're, I don't know, you'll just have to go back through the video and and watch it again. So I've got these, excuse me, I've got these pieces. I'm going to flip this around now. These plastic sheet pieces that I cut out, already pre-cut yesterday, and I'm going to start gluing these down. And you see why I had to put this tubing right here, because there was nothing to really support this edge. So if I had not put that there, this would be really, and it's I caught myself doing it when I was putting the base on. I was like pushing down on it, trying to get it to click down into the floor. And I realized, man, I'm really stressing the corners of this thing by pressing on it. So I got to be careful. I mean, it's not too terribly hard to disassemble, but the first time you do it, the pins are really tight. It takes the time for them to finally loosen up a little bit. So yeah, I'm just going to start gluing these pieces down. You rewatch this week? Yeah, good. No big deals. No big deals. I did a little bit of recap for SCGMC. And then I went into some of the stuff that I bought and won in the raffle and stuff. And now I'm still working on this thing. So I just did a huge, pretty big overview of all the fiber optic stuff and how those work. So I guess I could go in a little bit more detail about that. Fiber optics. All these little strands are going to one location. So there's a single LED that lights up any strands that you put in there. So because I got two colors, green and red, I just have multiple strands coming from different directions, and then all the red ones are, go over here, all the green, and so on. I thought about using a blinking LED, which would kind of be neat to have something flashing. But the problem I had in the past with a flashing LED was it changed the voltage drop in those circuits as they were blinking. It was causing my other LEDs to kind of pulse. Oh, thanks, George. You betcha. So I decided against using any kind of a blinking LED. I just didn't want to take the chance, so I went with static. But those are cool. I found some that flash at 1 hertz and some that flash at 6 hertz, and you can find them in different hertz ratings depending on what your application is, what you want it to do. I used those on the SDF1 build that I did that was my first attempt at fiber optics, and I wanted like all the blinking red lights, the red lights to be blinking, and I wanted the engines to be flashing at a high frequency. So that was the first time using those, but I had to individually wire them on their own circuit. I think I had the flashing LEDs on one circuit with its own battery, and then the static LEDs on a separate circuit, because I didn't want to have that kind of a pulsing going on. And maybe there's a way to use resistors to prevent that. I don't know. I'm not that smart. Sometimes I just do what's easier. And if that means I gotta wire a whole separate circuit, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. So let me grab my glue here. Taking a thin cement. That's right hand side, left hand side. I've got these labeled. Right hand, left hand. So yeah, once I get these all, I'm going to start with the roof, I think. Oh, I know what I was going to talk about. See? I knew it would come back to me. How do I finish that edge? That's what we were talking about. Okay, let me go back over this. So when I put this piece up here, there's a little bit of a gap because nothing's ever perfectly straight, right? So I wanted to be able to finish this edge. So what I got here is, this is a piece of angle strip from Evergreen, and it's just a 90-degree I guess you could call it like a corner bead would be for, in a wall in your house. See that? So because this is a 45-degree angle, I can't really use a 90-degree strip, but this stuff is flexible enough that I can take my fingers here, turn this so everybody can see what I'm doing. And all I did was just kind of press it down and flatten it out until I got the angle I wanted. And then I just got to cut it to length, right? So I'm kind of stressing that bend point right there, wherever it is. And now all I got to do is cut a strip and put it right over that edge, and that'll clean that edge up really nicely. That way I don't have to be perfect with my seams. And again, it's just the roof. It's really not going to be intended to be looked at. I'm not spending a terrible amount of time on it. I'm just trying to clean this up so it doesn't look so raw, around the edges. So I'm going to start gluing down this roof piece. I'm not worried about the back edge. I'm just worried about the front edge, what people are going to see. So actually, I could actually run a strip across this front edge too. That would probably clean up that really nicely too. It would save me a little bit of effort as far as getting my seams perfect. If I just ran, I've got plenty of this stuff. I got let's see, what do we got here? I got 5 or 6 strips of this stuff left. So I got plenty of this evergreen plastic corner. It's called angle. It's called a 293 angle. It's a 2.5 millimeter. Is the 2.5 by 2.5. Let me talk to you guys at Evans Design. Who are we? What's that, George? I'm not sure what you're trying to say. Evans Designs, is that? Yeah, I can't have enough evergreen. What is Evans Designs? That's my next question. I'm not familiar. Maybe I am. I'm just, again, being stupid because I'm still getting over this damn respiratory thing that's been going around. And I've heard it's been kicking a lot of people's butts, not just my shop. I mean, we hit 4 guys just got blasted with it at all the same time. And everybody's like, what is going on? I tested myself 3 times for COVID because I'm just like, God, it's acting just like COVID. But every time I tested, nope, it was negative. So I'm just running some glue across this because the strip that's on the side here and the roof is it's about a 10 or 9.5 millimeter by 1 millimeter thick strip of evergreen. Just looking at the website. Oh, now I remember. You're right. Evans Designs. Okay, I have seen their website before. Yeah, you're right. It is. It's a bunch of pre-wired LED stuff, if I'm not mistaken. Am I right? Yeah, they do a lot of cool stuff. They make it pretty easy to get into this kind of stuff if you're thinking about adding LEDs, because a lot of their stuff, like I said, pre-wired. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's pre-wired. So it saves you a lot of the hassle of trying to solder an LED, like a surface mount LED on a harness or a piece of wire. LED specialist, yeah, you're right. Yeah, okay, now I remember. Yeah, a buddy of mine turned me on to them, and I did look briefly at their website. I haven't purchased anything from them yet, but yeah, it is pretty cool that you can buy that stuff, and it's pre-wired, easy to use, really. There's another website, and I'm going to try to find it, and I'll put it in the chat. But there is an LED. Excuse me, it's getting harder for me to talk. It's a series parallel wizard that basically you plug in how many LEDs you're in your harness or in your design. Like in this case, we'll just say the roof. So that's 6 LEDs. So you put 6. 20 milliamps is typically what most the draw is on LEDs. Okay, so 20, and then you, what's your source voltage? 9 volts. Then you click Design My Array, and it will tell you exactly where to put a resistor and how strong that resistor has to be based on what your voltages are that you input. So it really does make it simpler. You don't have to do so much of the math. Because I've got 2 circuits on this back wall. One of them, actually 3 circuits if you count these 3 LEDs here, 3 LEDs here. Excuse me. And then the 2 in the back by themselves, I had to put a resistor on that one just to get it to work within my 9 volts. Okay, let me see. I'm going to look at that up really quick. I know I've got it saved in my phone here, I believe. Okay, yeah. Let me see if I can. So, okay, I'm going to copy this into the chat real quick. Hopefully I can do this without screwing it up. But this is the LED series parallel array wizard that I use anytime I'm doing LEDs. Specifically, if I can't find if I can't find the, if I'm not using, if I'm using white LEDs, I pretty much know those run on 3 volts, so I don't need any resistors. It's only when I have to use a resistor that I use that system, so it helps me to figure out what what I need to install and where. It'll even show you kind of where in the array that you need to install it to make it work for everything in the circuit. I apologize for coughing, guys. It's just this damn respiratory thing. So this is HEEIL. Whoa, what is going on here? Okay, HEBEI. Oh, I screwed that up. EI. Bear with me here. CN slash. Okay. Now I've got the whole thing. I got to put all this little stuff into /V5/ Hopefully this works. You guys can tell me. HP. All right. Try that. Yeah. HEBEILTD.com/CN. Wait, .com.cn/calculator. Yeah. Okay. That looks like what it is. Hopefully that works. Give that a shot. Of course, it throws it up on all 3 platforms because I'm on Twitch and YouTube and everything all at once. Yeah, let me know how that goes. Yep, that worked out perfectly. It worked on my phone, so hopefully it works out good for you guys. And you'll see it. It's super simple to use too. How's your setup? How's what setup, Angel? Asking, yeah. Be a little more specific, and I can answer that question for you. So I got a little bit. I'm going to run another little bit of glue here across the front of this. You can see how that's going to clean this up nicely. Oh, my build desk. Oh, it's a good setup. I mean, I suppose I could try to turn the camera around so everybody can see what's going on, but you can kind of see. Yeah, not really. It's mostly using my laptop. I am surrounded by Hobby Zone paint racks with multiple hundred bottles of paint from Mr. Color. But other than that, it's just my my cutting mat and then a few other things set around here. But see, yeah, we can see. You can see there's my wall with my chisels right there, all my BMC chisels, and then here's all the paint racks all the way across here, all the way around as we bring the laptop around. And there we go. Now you're looking at my microphone right there. That's it. So that's kind of where we're at. Now that I got this all jacked up, sporting my Sazabi shirt, new from those Gundam guys. Bring it down here so you can see. This was at the event. I was able to buy one of these. I like it. I like it a lot. But then behind me, which you didn't see, behind me was the recommending the organizer for beginners. I love these Hobby Zone. They are modular systems, so you don't have to buy a bunch of them. I just bought the paint racks. I mean, they make everything from towel, paper towel racks to brush holders to. I mean, when you order them, you got to order them by the size of bottle of paint that you want to put in, because they make them for Mr. Color, they make them for Tamiya. It just depends on what paint you're going to put in them. So I'll be very careful in that respect. But I'm super happy with them. They're easy to put together. They have magnets, neodymium magnets that you install on either side, so they click together once you put those in. It makes it really nice, and they hold themselves together, and you can put them in any configuration you want. Obviously, you just detach them and slide them around if you have different stuff you want to put in there. I just use paint. Mine for paint racks, I have one tool rack that had all my chisels in it that you saw. But other than that, it's all just paint racks on a big IKEA desk. The Gallant, I think the name was called the Gallant, the original desk that I bought. This big black desk, and I've got something similar, only smaller behind me, and that's where my spray booth is. So, should I put an 8 squad in the 9th Bears? Hey, you do what you want, man. Yeah. Ninja got lucky today. He goes to IKEA looking for the same table I've got, and they've got one in the discontinued bin. Did you say it was or discounted or something, because somebody returned one built, and so they discounted it to $100. I was like, man, that was a sweet find. I mean, you couldn't have got. You went in looking for it, and they had one there assembled. That was just unreal. That's just the luck, man. It's the luck of the draw. That's awesome, though. I'm happy for you, because I know you've been wanting to set your desk up again and get your hobby room going and start building again, and that was just the perfect find to finish that off. So, just tacking down. I'm going to keep going over this with thin cement, but I'm just throwing in glue underneath this sheet here. It's going all the way to the back, and then I can paint this flat black or whatever. I've got some rattle can paint that is it's got primer and paint in one, and it's flat black, or it's made for plastic or whatever, but it's just easy. I can just mask this whole thing off and just take it outside and blast it. I don't have to worry about going to the spray booth and trying to paint this whole thing and make it look nice. Hit it with that Canon, and it'll level out and look nice. So I'm just I got the last edge here to get some underneath this glue underneath it. suppose I could have used my regular model, tester cement, which is thicker for this kind of thing, because the thin cement, you have to keep dabbing at it to get it to get on there. But now I've pretty much got that first piece on. So yeah, not going anywhere now. Looks good. Now I can do the sides and then work my way down the walls. And then you can see, I think I am going to use that corner bead on the front as well, because there's a little bit of a gap here. I don't know if it'll focus in on that or not, but it's a little bit of a gap right here at the top. And it's just because these pieces, when I glued them together, the way everything, I try to get it as perfect as possible, but there's just a little bit of a raised area there that's kind of, and once that's painted too, we're not going to see any of those LEDs shine through. Everything will be nice and clean. So here's my first side piece, and that goes right here. Yeah. Okay. So I'm thinking that. St. Andrew or Sotheby suit? Oh, my shirt? It's a Sotheby. Yeah, I don't have a St. Andrew shirt. I don't think they make one yet. Talking about those Gundam guys shirts. I'm sure there's a t-shirt out there somewhere with a St. Andrew on it, but I don't own one. All right, so I'm going to stick this on. I gotta make sure there's a bit of a gap, but again, I'm covering it up with that angle strip, so it was really hard to get all these pieces to fit right. Just because I had to use different combinations of stuff to get it to sit quite right. I'm talking about the back wall. Just building this, because I assembled it in a way that was not intended for. These were part of an octagon base, these corners, and so they kind of went together the same way, but it was only intended to be like a circle about, yay big, not this big giant wall. So I had to really mess around with it until I got the right combination of parts to make it fit. So I'm just eyeballing this side piece, trying to make sure I order. This one's got to go here. I wonder if I should do that first. I don't know. Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. Let's feel like I do the side first. Tilt this back a little bit so you guys can see a little more. There we go. Yeah, maybe I will do the side. That'll probably help me line up that other piece. So sit that right there. That's pretty good. I'll be glad when this coughing thing is done. I am so tired of it. The first week, it felt like somebody had just punched me in the ribs. I was coughing so much. I was in pain. And you get to that point where you're trying to just break up whatever's in your chest, right? The congestion or whatever. And it doesn't want to break up. So you're just like fighting. Coughing and fighting, trying to get this stuff to come out. And it won't. So yeah, I'm just exhausted. It's tiring me out. But I'm feeling pretty good now. Earlier in the stream, I was having trouble not coughing. I was trying not to cough. I'm doing okay now. Knock on wood. I took some medicine about 2 hours before the stream, so in hopes that it might kick in by the time we got started and I wouldn't have any issues. But this is looking pretty good. Nice and straight. I really wish these base kits were available still, because I've had really good luck with it. There's some out there that aren't that good. These are made by a Korean company, and I think Wave may still own the rights and make them now. I don't know that for sure. I have seen them on, I think it was Hobby Link Japan, but they're listed as discontinued, and that's from Wave. So I don't know if they're even going to be something you can get your hands on anymore. But they're made so much better than some of the Chinese ones that I've found. I have some of those too, but these fit really well. The finish is really well. They're not, there's no distortion, you know what I mean? They're not all warped and screwed up. And I just bought them a long time ago, back at an anime expo in LA, about probably 2013, 14 maybe. I hadn't used them. They've been sitting, they've been traveling with me as I moved as I moved a couple times in there. And I had an idea. I was going to make a Zaku Warrior, and I was going to use it as a base for that. And because they have LED kits for them too. There's all these things you can get, little mechanical arms, little claws and stuff that come out, and various little accessories. And it's like, I'm going to do that. So I snapped the first Zaku Warrior together, the first one that came out with, the red one. Snapped that together, and I was just building the base and kind of seeing what it was going to look like, and I just wasn't feeling it. I was like, this just doesn't, I'm not excited about it, And it's probably the first time ever that I put something back in a box and decided, I'm just not going to fix it. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do something else. So I put the base, I didn't disassemble the base. I kind of still had it sort of in the configuration it is now. And I had it sitting on a shelf, and then I started building the Black Aces Valkyrie, and I go, what? I think I can make a hangar out of this. So that's where we got to where we're at. And I'm glad I did, because I'm really liking this better than I was. That Zaku Warrior. Not that it's not a good kit. It's a nice looking kit, and I think I even have the blue one as well. It came out after that, the P Bandai version. But there, for a master grade kit, it has its problems, and that was one of the things I was kind of turned off about. It was like, this is a master grade kit with seam lines. When's the last time you had a master grade kit with a seam line? I mean, it's pretty rare. They're usually good about designing everything where it won't happen, but and it's just like in a place that could have easily been handled, it just wasn't. And this is gonna look nice. Now again, there are some gaps here. You can see it on the screen on the top right there. You see that seam. I'm not too concerned about it, because I'm going to be using that angle strip to cover that up, just almost like a corner bead would be in your house on a wall. And that will dress that seam up and make it virtually disappear. So I'm just going the last piece on the corner here, the right hand side. And I'll move on to the left. Get this all. It's getting really bright on screen, isn't it? All this white plastic. The camera's going, what are you doing? What are you doing? Oops, a bit under there. There we go. All right. Whoops. Yeah, that looks. Oh shit. Yeah, that's again another thing I got to be careful of, because there's no real structure under these corner sections. It has a tendency to bend in as soon as you touch it. So I think once I get that corner piece on, that's going to help structurally help that out a little bit. It won't be so bendy. And in fact, I think I can even put some glue right here. It'll kind of bond that edge and hold it. Where this bottom seam is. They're close enough that it touches. There we go. When that dries, that will, I'm not worried about that because I'm going to take this piece here after I cut it down, but I'm going to set that right over the top, just like that. That will, yeah, thanks, George. It is. I mean, I'm super happy with it. I'm so glad I went in this direction. It only took about a year, but once I got back to it, because there was something I was doing in between there. It's probably the Hainu. And as soon as I finished that, then I started doing the Valkyrie build. But I'm just setting this here because I'm going to put this other side piece on. Just set it in place. Make sure that it's lined up. And again, the front edge is really all I'm worried about. Back edge, I'm not too concerned. Yeah, this is good. So, yep, that will go just like so. Fortunately, everything's pretty straight. And like I said, that's another thing I was talking about. These kits, even as many times as I took them apart and reassembled them, they're still straight. You know, everything is nice and straight. There's no pieces that are too terribly warped. And nice movie set. Yeah, it is. If you get the right picture, like there's a couple of them that I took just recently that really look like a movie set with the lighting and stuff. It's nice. And I'm really just hoping we get an IPMS show this year or next year. I mean, we missed it this year because of COVID. It was right when everything was starting to open up again. We were really hoping they were going to do a show in April. And then they came out and said, nope, we're shutting it down one more time. Fuck. All right. So I've got a ton of shit to bring to that show. I've got so many kits to build. Not to build, but to bring and enter, put on the tables. I got the 120 Gerwach that's going on the table. I'll have this one going on the table. The Hainu, probably the Star Wars kit again. They're all stuff that just been sitting here and hasn't been shown because we haven't had any real shows here. SCGMC was the first one I'd gone to in 3 years. I missed their first live show since the pandemic last year, which was quite a bit smaller if I remember. The attendance was down, but that's to be expected, right? And then this year there was quite a bit more attending for sure, but I think it was still slightly smaller than previous. All right, so letting that first edge go, I'm going to get the bottom here and go across the back. Now, this isn't painted, so I don't mind sliding it around on the bench. I got to do some touch-ups because I've been picking this thing up and putting it face down and sliding it around, and so some of the front walls or the framework is getting a couple little spots here and there that I've got to address, but nothing major. All easy fixes. All right, looking good. A little bit more across the back here. Oh, that came off. Okay. Oh, I did put it on there. That's why. Where is that show located? It is in Renton. It's at what is it? It's a community center in Renton. I don't remember the address. You can look up IPMS Spring Show, John. Just Google IPMS Spring Show Seattle or whatever 2023, and it'll come up. It'll probably even have the date of when it's in April. Yeah, John, that'll be your first actual competition, wouldn't it? If you were able to go to that, that'd be awesome. I'll make sure I'm one of the judges so I can just tear your shit apart. I'm kidding. No, yeah, you'll like it. I think if you've never been to anything like that, but you've been to RC stuff before, or maybe shows like that with RC cars and stuff. So it's not going to be too far out of your wheelhouse there. Pretty similar. It's not Seattle, Angel. You're wrong. The IPMS show, it's in Renton. If you're talking about the anime show they have here, that's in Seattle. Or what was it called? SakuraCon? That's in Seattle. But SakuraCon is, again, more anime. It's not really a model show. It's an anime convention. It's like a miniature version of Anime Expo. But the IPMS show is in Renton. Are you a local or national IPMS member? I am neither, George. I don't belong to any IPMS chapters as of yet. I think I was considering something like that when we were in California, but then we ended up moving up here, so I haven't done it since. And the guys up here are quite a bit different than the ones in California. I'm going to have to put a clip on that. It's being temperamental, so we're just going to clip that guy, keep it held while I do this side here. So I know George is well, you're actually what, VP or president of your chapter, right? Aren't you now? I think. Didn't you say that? Or am I mistaken? Yeah. I know Dan Salas, he used to belong to the Orange County IPMS in California. But no, I've been trying to hang with the Gundam crowds and stuff. That's why I haven't really gotten involved with that, with the IPMS part of it. We were trying to promote Washington State Gunpla and get them on the map, and so yeah, so we, my focus was more on that and supporting the members of that group and the new members or the people coming in. There's people joining every day, but I think I'm going to have to take a little tiny edge off of this piece. All right, that's what I thought. All right, give me a sec here. I got to cut just a sliver off the end of this, so I'm sure everybody can see that. I got a little tiny. Just need to take just a tiny edge, and it's going to peel off super easy. One pass. There we go. Damn, I hate the way that moves on you. Try to keep it from moving in my fingers, but then it wants to just fucking go. Yeah, let's do that. Oh. A little better. That'll be all right. All right. Oh, a little more. It's kind of moved on me. I tried to keep it from moving, but it's hard with the thin stuff sometimes. Again, I'm not too concerned about the gaps. I'm going to address those easily with the. I still got a little bit of a hair here. Let's slice off just a tiny bit more. There. All right, not much. There we go. Perfect. Oh, have you guys met? Do you know Angel Segura, or are you talking about Angel De La Cruz? Didn't know you guys knew each other. It's awesome. But again, I guess this is a pretty small community. Everybody knows everybody, right? It's like the auto industry, right, John? Everybody knows everybody. Everybody knows everybody. All right, put a little bit in there. Put a little bit on this back wall. I just lift this up a little bit. Just moved on me. We're good. All right. So, got a little bit of glue in here. And I can hit those edges a little bit more. All right, perfect. Okay, that's been on long enough. Yeah. Good. Where are we at? 7:21. Almost an hour and a half on. Not too bad. We're in a good spot. No, don't start that. Oh boy. Okay, sorry. Okay. These and my old guys got to stick together. You bet we do. Us old guys got to stick together. I've meant neither, but no. Yeah. I meant that's what I meant was in the community here, not in person. I didn't expect that, but I didn't know if you guys had talked to each other online or anything in here. I don't know if Angel watches your live stream. So okay. So that's where we're at. Check this out. Okay. So there's the front. Okay. Top, sides, nice and clean now. Doesn't look like this, raw plastic, but once I paint those and put those other pieces back on in the back, this is going to be nice and then of course I'm going to address these seams with this angle strip here. It's going to keep kind of flattening it out. It's kind of amazing stuff. I mean, you flatten it out and then it just comes right back, even though it is plastic and you're stressing it. But yeah, if I put an edge on there like that, it's going to look nice and clean. No worries. But I think what I'm going to do first is I'm going to do the front edges, which I can do in 90 degrees because these aren't at angles. So I'll do those and then I'll run my strips across these edges here, because then I got less of a seam or something by the tips of the angle strips coming in there. So why not? Let's cut some up. So these are both the same and they're both open. That's crazy that I opened them both at different times. So these are just, I don't know how long these are. They come out of a pack about 14 inches, maybe a little bit more than 14 inches long. I'm going to need a couple of them. So let's measure this first. Get my long rule out. Tom, do you have any advice on motivation to keep working when a project you are working starts to slow down and not much fun? Oh boy, let me put that one on screen. That's a very good question. Hey, thanks, George. I appreciate that. I appreciate your kind words. Yeah. The question is, do you have any advice on motivation to keep working on a project you're working on if it starts to slow down? Now, I have done this a few times where I've actually put something back in the box. Now, it used to be years ago, I would kind of pride myself in saying that I've always finished a project. I never stop something, no matter what. Even if it slows down, I keep going. But that being said, if you're not feeling it, you're not feeling it, So I don't know. It's burnout happens, and you know that. You've been there before, and sometimes you just get burned out. Maybe it's a particular or maybe to be honest, there's been times, I'm sorry, I'm kind of rambling. There's been times, even with this project, where I didn't do any work to it for 2 weeks. It just either was tired from work, or there was just a particular step that I needed to get past, and I wasn't getting past it. So it would just I'd just come in and look at it, and then I would go watch TV or something and come back and stare at it and go. And eventually I picked it up and I started doing it. And in fact, one of those was all of the wiring, because I knew that I had to get to a certain place with everything assembled a certain way, and then I could start running wires, because originally I had all these pieces were taken apart so I could paint everything and then put it all together. I wanted to make sure I knew that once I glued it together, I was done with that. So I think sometimes it's okay to take a break. If you want to take a break for a week or 2 weeks, yeah, that's fine. That's okay. It is hard sometimes to get back in that groove, but I think for me, like I said, there's times where I haven't been motivated to work on something, or I've just been tired or whatever, and I let it sit, and then one day on a weekend I'll sit down and start tinkering again, and next thing you know, I'm off and running. So it's tough. It's different for everybody. And I think, but that's all I can say for me. It's like, this is what I had to do. And if it comes down to it where you're just not feeling it, like I did with that Zaku Warrior project, I just couldn't get in the groove. It was like I had started that one and snapped it. I hadn't even started painting it yet. And I was just trying to put together all the pieces and kind of get an idea of what I wanted it to look like. And then it got to the point where I'm like, it's just not happening. I'm not excited about this. And I put it away and did something else. Maybe if that happens, you can take a small project, something even smaller that's not so complex, because it sounds to me like you're talking about something that might be pretty complicated, or at least complicated for you. So, it's not going to be something you're going to finish in a month. And so trying to finish those long projects can sometimes be difficult, and you get unmotivated, or you get tired, or just burnout. So maybe pick up something small and just do a small one, do something tiny, grab yourself a figure kit, or like George has got an Amaro little kit that he's working on, just something to change it up a little bit, and then you can come back and refocus at a different time. Does that make sense? Angel says, I say take a break, build some project. Yeah, that's kind of just what I said. Great minds think alike, I think. But yeah, if that works for you, So now I'm going to measure off a strip here that I can put across this front edge. I was just going to measure it, but you know what I think I'm going to do? I'm just going to place it on here and mark it. That's probably the easiest way to do it. Yes, sir. Thank you. You are very welcome, John. I'm just so glad that you've decided to pick up the hobby again. And I'm glad to say, if I had anything to do with that, that's awesome. That's awesome. I think if I go right there, see, I should take that one and cut it. It's got to be a complex cut here, because I'm dealing with this 45-degree angle. So I think when I get to the edge here, I want to chop off a 45-degree angle right at the corner there. Just a little tiny piece. And that will I can just do this by hand, really. Not much to it. There, just taking that corner off, just so when this sits on here, then the other piece comes up from this angle. It'll be a straight seam. Yeah, I think that'll work out nicely. So another thing, this whole cold has just been like stupid like congestion in my head, you know. What's Johnny Boy doing? John, what are you saying? Oh, look at that. He's got it all set up. Yeah. Yeah, your height. That's right, because you're a big guy, so you need a high table. So that's what I like about this table is being adjustable. And you can level it too that way, because just because you can adjust the height doesn't mean it's gonna be level, but you can adjust the legs individually. It makes it nice. Yeah, okay. So I got a front little piece here. That's gonna look good. And I'm not too overly concerned, only because this is going to get painted black probably, and it's really just to clean it up. I'm not trying to finish this and make it look structural like it's part of the diorama. Everything should be focused on the front and the inside. That's where I want your eyes to go. So I'm just trying to blank out these other things and make it disappear into the background. That's what we're doing. That's what my intention is with this stuff. So yeah, so what you can see here, I don't know if you guys can see that or not. It's white on white, so it's kind of hard. But so I've cut this down, and then this will sit right like that. Yeah, that's just really too hard to see, huh? Let me turn the light off. Maybe you can see it that way. Not really. Still white on white. I tried. You'll just have to come and see it in person. That's all. There you go. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So John's got his room all set up. He got his new desk. Scored it on that IKEA find. That's awesome. Man, I can't believe the luck of that. It's just unreal. To walk in and go, I really need one of these. Oh, we've got one right over here. Excuse me. Nobody gets that lucky. Well, I guess John does. John gets that lucky. That's all right though. That's an awesome find. I'm happy for you. Now you got what you wanted. You're not settling for something else. It's like you really wanted that desk because it's a perfect size for big guys like me and you. And then you just walk in and find one sitting there, and you didn't even have to build the damn thing. Come on. What the hell? I mean, how does that even happen? Okay, so I'm just gluing on this first strip of that angle. Let's see if you can. God, it's just hard to see. It's really hard to see. Yeah, you can't even see this. Yeah, you can kind of see it there. There's a little bit of that separation. But that cleans up that front edge really nicely. So there's no little seam there. I'm going to go back down and hit this side of it. And that will be welded on permanently after that. So we won't have to worry about that coming loose. Yeah. Some people might think this is a waste of time, but for me, it's not. It's all about presentation. Granted, this is not part of the kit, and it shouldn't be part of. It's not going to be judged, but by IPMS rules anyway, unless it is a diorama, which then it is part of the picture, which it will be judged. But I like taking the extra time just to make it clean, and nice. So I'm going to need a few more strips of this. So I got 2 more long uprights to do here. I don't think one of these is going to get both. Nope, not going to happen. So screw the glue lid back down before we spill that. And anybody sitting in this room has done it. That's why there's a big clean spot right here. Everybody has spilled their Tamiya thin cement at one point in their lives. You will not do this hobby without ruining your freaking cutting mat. At least once. All right, so that's there. Mark this here. Okay, and then I'll take that and cut it, mark that direction. All right. So, I'm going to cut this real quick. Try to, anyway. Yeah, clean that up just a little bit. Oh yeah, I definitely didn't get that in the right spot, did I? Oh, good. It's easier to be able to clean it up than it is to try to recut a new one. There. So that will go right on this front edge. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. Okay, let's glue it down. Let's see, was it you are covering the back wall where the battery goes? Yes, you missed that part earlier in the show. I will briefly bring those back up. So what I have is extra pieces of these kits here that are going to go on the back. So what I've done is I've drilled out and filled the peg holes with pins. So now these will pop in to the original holes on the back and completely cover all this up. So, yeah, down here at the bottom is going to be the 2-part pieces. These are like door halves. They kind of fit together like teeth. So I'm going to have those along the bottom edge so I can take these off, take the bottom piece off specifically because I need to get to these joiner sections when I'm assembling this to put these clips on that hold it together. So when this is on the floor, I have to go around. Ooh, that reminds me, I got to cut out. I just did something I forgot to do, and that was cut out a section on the side here for that because on the side is another clip that holds that on. So I will have to cut that out, but that's an easy fix. So yeah, that's what we're doing there. But rather than using the styrene plastic sheet, I just figured it was easier with these pieces. They're already the same size. And I guess I could have done that to the sides and top as well, but then it was just so heavy and bulky. So I decided to keep it just to the back and just do the tops and the sides too with the plastic sheet. Plastic sheet. I said sheet, not shit. I swear that's what I said. All right, so we're going to glue this one on here. Thanks, Angel. Appreciate that. And it's starting to come together. I still have all those reed oak figures to paint and the ladders and all that stuff. So I got quite a bit of work to do. I mean, the bulk of it is done with the Valkyrie and the base. I mean, really, that's the 2 biggest chunks of this, the whole thing and all the wiring. So now it's just the accessories. and all that, cleaning that stuff up. And so I'm just running some thin cement down this front edge just to kind of get that, and then I'll flip it up on its side and grab this edge here. There we go. We'll keep that nice and bonded. Yeah, it's just like framing a house, right? After you put the drywall up, you got to throw down some corner bead. That's all I'm doing. Angel knows about that. He's good at that stuff. He's really good at framing stuff, at home construction and pouring concrete and all that neat stuff. For me, I am still learning. I don't know how to do any of that crap. I know how to build model kit stuff. That's about it. Yeah. So the last piece is going to go right in here. We'll just mark this. I should be able to just go straight across. I've got a really sharp razor. Okay, that one's gone. Did you just see that thing disappear into the stratosphere? I don't know where the fuck it went. That piece flew off. It hit the wall and never came back. I don't know where it went. That's funny. I can't even say it got lost by the carpet monster because it didn't. It never even made it that far. I guess it's a good thing I didn't need that tiny piece. Holy shit. That's funny. I'll find that about a month later. That is funny. I get pieces fly off sometimes, but that one went and it never even came down. Usually you hear it hit the wall and then hit somewhere else and you go, okay, it's over there. But nope, it went into the pegboard and never came back. I think it went through in a hole or something. That's funny. Yeah, blast off. See you, Forrest. Thanks for stopping by, man. I appreciate your watching. I know you East Coast guys are staying up late to see this, so really something special when you guys roll in for at least a little chat, a little bit. All right. So now I've got 3 of those 5 front edges sealed up nicely here with this. I just got to sand a little bit and then we're good. I got to do this side and then this front piece and then all my corners up here on the roof. And that's it. I'm not doing the back, so I'm not worried about that. I just want this to be finished. And boy, does it look 110% better with that on there. That's crazy. Just a little bit of trim. It's kind of crazy how much that changes the whole deal. So we're going to keep plugging away. I know I was going to probably finish up around 7:30, but I think we're going to push on until 8 o'clock. I'm going to get these last couple pieces on. That should give me enough time to finish that, and we'll call it. So right here. There. And this one comes back. So yeah. Be careful next time. I'm going to put my finger on that. I'm not letting one of those go flying again, man. Styrene's not cheap, man. I can't keep giving it away to letting it fly all over the room. Oops. I'm going to take off a little bit more. It's a little bit long. All right. I'm just going to shave off a little bit off this end, off the straight end. That might help. Tiny bit. Can always take more. Can't add it back. So there we go. That's perfect. All right. Gloomy. Here we go. Oh, that's Michael. Okay. Sorry, Forrest Goes. I forget what your name is. I'm not like George, who's got everybody's name memorized. But now I know you're one of the Michaels in the room, so now that I'm doing the live stream, we can just call you Mike or Michael, whichever you want. I think it was kind of funny when we were watching George the other day. We had like 4 of them. And I never knew who he was talking to. He's all, hey, Michael this, Michael that. I'm going, shit, is he talking to me? That's why I decided to go with Mike, since I said when I was a kid, man, Michael usually meant I was in trouble. Yeah, that's easy to do when you're coughing. Trying to be precision gluing here, and I'm shaking the friggin' brush everywhere. All right. Although, even though I'm really not done with this project, and I typically don't try to think about what I'm going to do next until I'm getting there, until I'm done, but I think I'm going to build that. I think my next one's going to be that. What was it? The Iwata airbrush spacecraft. I think that's the one I want to do next. It just seems like it's going to be a cool kit. You guys know what I'm talking about? What you going to put in the hangar? What am I going to put in the hangar? Oh, man, you need to go back and watch this video over again. I'm putting a Valkyrie, a 148 scale Macross Black Aces Valkyrie with pilots, flight crew, maintenance ladders, everything. That's all going in this hangar. Hell yeah. Yeah, man. I'm serious. When we get done here, go back and watch about the within the first hour. I can't remember when I started assembling it. The first part of this stream was mostly just a recap of SCGMC and stuff, but I think, yeah, you'll see the whole thing. Well, not everything. Obviously, I don't have everything done, but you'll be able to see the hangar, the Valkyrie, how everything lights up, how the wiring is done, all that. All that's in like the first hour of this stream today. So just cleaning up this edge, one little tiny piece on this corner, and then we're done. This has been a good stream. I was kind of concerned about my throat and whether or not I was going to be just coughing too much. I was really hoping I didn't have any problems. It looks like I'm going to be all right, because it's been a rough couple weeks. This thing is kicking in my ass. I really wanted to get on here last week and let everybody see what was going on, but talk about SCGMC and all that stuff, stuff that I had to wait another week. I just couldn't. All right, so I'm done with those corner beads on all the front edges. A little bit of sanding just to take these little lips off here from the overlap, but that's it. And then I'll go over and put some strips here and here to cover up those seams. And this is ready for paint. I mean, I'll shoot it straight with that rattle can. It's just it's like an interior project paint that has primer and paint in one, and it's flat black, super flat black. I mean, a really nice flat black. So I can hit it with that. I don't even have to prime it. I'll just mask this whole thing off really good, blast it, and we're good to go. I'm gonna hit each one of those back pieces too. That's gonna go on the back of this, and then I can install all those, and yeah, then we can focus on the figures and all the little accessories, and that's on the downhill slide of this whole thing. It's been a long build. It's been fun. I really, really enjoy Macross kits. And with that said, I really, really enjoy Hasegawa Macross kits. I haven't built a Bandai one in a while, and I know their stuff is updated. I do have a variable Valkyrie Bandai kit in my stash. I sold a couple of the Wave ones I had a little while ago because I was just trying to focus on mostly the 148 stuff. Go to the Facebook page and see a pair. Yeah, that's true. Even the cover photo for this stream was the hangar. So I tucked down one of my old Matchbox SDF. Oh, geez. Nice. You tracked it down, huh? Yeah, I've seen a couple of those floating around. Vintage, man. Vintage stuff. So anyway, I really like the way Hasegawa does it. And I just wish they would make a 148 Gerwak or something like that. Or even what else? Like a Battleroid in 148. I think that would be really nice if they would just do that. But probably not. I don't know. So I did sell off most of the 172 stuff I had, except for some of the really rare stuff I did keep. But I really like the 148 scale. I just like being able to modify it, especially with LEDs and stuff. Those are fun. I mean, I don't know if I could even build one of these now without putting some kind of lighting in the damn thing. I mean, this is minimal compared to the first Valkyrie I did, because the first one was on a launch arm and everything was lit up. Every single thruster, every single, actually the only thing I didn't light up on that one was the cockpit, because I didn't have the experience with fiber optics back then. So I did not light up the cockpit on that one, but I did light up the rest of it. So who knows? I mean, this thing's evolved. Originally, my plan was to make this look like a hangar with the launch arm suspended above it, to getting ready to pick up the Valkyrie when it's ready to launch. But there was just no way. Ultimately, I had to scratch that idea, because there was just no way to, with this amount of, there's really limited back wall here. There was just no way for me to put that with the Valkyrie in position and have the arm there and mount it to where it didn't look just ridiculous. So I decided, you know what, we're just making it wheels down, flight crews working on it, pilots there, walking over, getting ready to go. And I think that's the best option that I had with it. So anyway, so we're moving right along here. I got to do a few more pieces of the angle strip that I can cover up these seams with, sand it a little bit, and then I've got to mask off this whole area so I can just shoot this thing black, and it'll be finished and ready to go. I like the way it's even more sturdy now. All these pieces coming together are really helping it lock together and stay good. So all right, so that being said, my friends, we are going to call it a night. Been on almost 2 hours. Thanks again for joining me. Appreciate it. Tell your friends, get them on YouTube, tell them to hit that subscribe button, and join me every Sunday, 6 p.m. Pacific time, on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. And then, be good humans, That's all we got to do, right? Be good humans, promote the hobby, and, All right, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks again for joining me. I really appreciate everybody's input tonight. We had some good questions, and hopefully we can do it again next Sunday. Talk to you soon.